I'm definitely not going to pick on you guys so much, but I may pull on you guys a little bit into this conversation. And there's a lot of mindset issues and so I'm going to get into all that on this call. So raise your hand if you are like your new business development, your lead generating time is like scale of 1 to 10, 9 and 10 being sacred and you don't miss it, and it's highly structured and you're consistent and you know that you're going to generate business. That's a 9 or 10. Raise your hand if that's you. Leave it up. All right, so we've got Ryan, Sohail, Augustin. So for everyone else, raise your hand. If you just raised your hand, don't raise your hand again. So I just want to see from the people that didn't raise their hand. For everyone else that didn't raise their hand, are you crushing your production? Like raise your hand if you're crushing your production goals. Okay, Jacoby, Laesc. All right. What's the biggest thing? And I want you to type in the chat because this is good information for us. And this is whether or not you're individually producing or if you're building a team and you've got others that you're guiding in their journey. What's the biggest thing that gets in your way to doing the work required to generate enough new business where your bank accounts are just overflowing? It could be anything. It could be call reluctance. It could be I have some personal stuff going on, or I get distracted, or I want to hear all of the things, but I want them in the chat. This is really helpful for us. And if you have cracked the code on this, give me some insight as well, because you may see other agents and what they're doing. 4-year-old juggling other work. Oh, that's a good one. I had a conversation with a guy that had 7 businesses. He took home $250,000 and he had 7 businesses. And I said, you get to pick 2 of them. You have to kill 5 of the businesses. This is when I was still doing one-on-one coaching. He fired me the next week. I said, dude, you have 7 businesses and you only made 250 grand. Like, what are we talking about here? He didn't like that answer. Another quick example of that, because I know some of you do spread yourself thin because you're like, man, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm flipping a house over here. I have this whatever over here. And, I'm a salesperson and I'm starting a team. And another example is had a guy doing a flip that took him 12 months. It was like an hour outside of his market. He was driving back and forth multiple times during the week. He netted 12 grand on it. I'm like, did you add up the hours that you had into making that 12 grand? And once he figured that out, so there's examples for all of us like that. For me too. I get distracted and I work on a whole bunch of stuff. Here's the thing. And I heard this said at an event and it really like resonated with me. If you look at agents that are selling, only 1% of agents sell 25 homes or more. Who knew that? Yeah. It was at 1.8%, and last year it went down to under 1%. Who here wants to sell at least 2 to 3 homes per month? More than 10 homes per month, more than 20, 50. I like it. That's good. All right, I heard this said, and this goes for like if you're going to scale through others, very rarely does it work where it's just this loose collection of people. If you're not able to get your stuff together, and I know there's stuff that goes on. Like I built my business when we had babies and miscarriages and like all of this stuff. But if you can't sit yourself still for a certain number of hours every day, you're not going to scale your business and you'll never have a chance of showing someone else how to do it. And that kind of is the truth. And it's okay to be in a season of your life where, like, yeah, I can't sit down for 3 hours because I have this person that I'm devoting this season of my life to. So there's no shame in that either. So you can't beat yourself up for not being in both worlds. Really good book. First Things First by
Stephen Covey.
yeah, Stephen Covey. First Things First. Read that book if you're like in a season. Someone mentioned they have a person, an illness in the family or whatnot. That book was really, really good when it comes to like the whole season of life and making decisions and priorities and all that. All right, so back to my story where I heard this. 1 hour a day of focused lead generation, or what I call new business development, is going to be 1 transaction per month. 2 hours a day, 2 transactions per month. 3 hours a day, 3 transactions per month. So, when you have someone come on here, a Sohail or a Ryan, and they said, I took two listings this week, they're probably doing more than 3 hours on the daily consistently. And it takes time to ramp up, and it doesn't matter by lead source. So I have a feeling that when people hear a Ryan or a Sohail talk and they know that they're quote unquote cold calling, you check out because you don't want to cold call. Does anyone feel that way when they hear those guys? I feel that way, and I've sold a gazillion homes. It's okay. But here's the thing. I wish Jessica was on this call. Jessica does the opposite of what Ryan and Sohail does. You have to do something. There are people that know you and people that don't know you. So you have to commit to having conversations with one bucket or the other. You could commit to just executing the Jessica Wade strategy with all of your agents. Hey, you have to be accountable to having a cup of coffee with a person and a lunch every week and invite everyone to one of these 6 community events that are free. It could be something simple like that. And if you do that for 2 to 3 hours a day, because that's all Jessica did, it takes her about 2 hours a day, 5 days a week to coordinate coffees and lunches and community events. Or you could do what Ryan and Sohail are doing, which is they're turning cold, not that cold because these people are expired or for rent by owners or investors or for sale by owners. That's not like massively cold. They literally want to sell their home. They're strangers at this point. But Ryan, how much of the time are you adding nurtures to the database versus setting a consultation?
10 conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's probably 80% are adding some kind of nurture or adding to the database. And then 20% is scheduling appointments.
You may have like Jessica Wade. She has 250 people in her database and she sells 42 homes either to or through that database. So over, what is that, like 17% or something like that? And so those are people that obviously she's like tweaking that and she's like, that's a real special group for her. Or you're calling people that don't know you and you're just building your database and they're going to get to know you because you've got a touch system in place when someone you put them in your nurture sequence.
Lars, can I share one thing?
Yeah.
Ironically, I was at a quick recruiting cup of coffee earlier in the week. A guy who was next to me in my office back at Keller Williams. And he talked about he was coming from a client lunch. So there's 500 people in his database. He was coming from a client lunch. My question for him was, how frequently are you doing those client lunches? Is it like once a week, once a month? He's like, try 4 days a week. And I just look at it. He's having one-to-one, very powerful conversations and meals while I'm talking to 30 people in a day that are cold, right? And he's going to do 52 deals in 2024.
Crazy. And it couldn't be a more opposite strategy than what you're doing.
Night and day.
Yeah. And we've got a guy on here. Is Joe on here? He's like, the colder, the better. I don't want to talk to anyone I know. And he takes so much pride in like, if he's got to put 8 hours in a day to set a listing consultation, he's like, that is my jam, right? If that's not your jam, then you got to pick a jam and do it. It could be open houses. Like you do open houses at the highest level and you make that your thing, you can generate enough opportunity holding an open house or two every week that can give you and then maintain your own sort of database. So you do your database, your digital footprint, which is social, brand authority builder, and then open houses, 100 homes a year. Because eventually you'll get out of doing open houses and you'll have your own listings. All right, LAESC, what do you got?
Recently, I left Keller Williams and was recruited over to EXP into like a hybrid model team, which I'm going on my 5th year now in real estate and joined during the crazy pandemic when like anybody could sell a house. I just decided to follow my gut after 5 years of just working in teams. I do think it's smart when you're first joining to have that, mentorship and accountability with the team, learn the ropes. But I'm very excited because I've built, I think, a big enough book of business and connections over the last 5 years that I decided to switch over and come over to EXP and join the Jeff Lewis team. Since I made that change in the last 2 weeks, I've been so much more focused on my sphere, so much more focused on my relationships. I have neighbors coming and asking me to help them with off-market deals. Ever since I've made this decision and just kind of really focused in on my past clients, my past buyers, my past sellers, people that I've built a relationship with, I'm seeing everything changing. I've got a rental listing, got a buyer under contract to close in a couple of weeks. He's gave me his rental in downtown Tampa to list. Now I'm getting other renters that are in the market through that, and just really feeling the momentum growing based off of just making a good decision. Yeah.
Awesome. I was gonna say, man, you joined that shady character, Jeff Lewis. He's one of the best. I'm just teasing him. That's awesome. So someone made the comment here about Katie made the comment, I love open houses, but the closes are long term. Just closed a 1.225 million after meeting the couple in April 2023. Here's, and Katie, you can chime in the chat. How many open houses have you done in the last 6 months?
12 or so.
12 or so. Okay.
Yeah.
So and this is, I'm not picking on you. That's
No,
pretty,
I need it.
that's pretty good. Once you pick a lead gen lever, you have to have the confidence that it can get you to the goal that you want it, whether it's your database or social media. Database and social media are sort of like par for the course. Those have to be part of your business. And that will get to you over time with consistency. If you can contain yourself every day for a number of hours, you will be successful. And it's just the containing yourself. Like if I could be on all of your shoulders for the first part of your day, from the moment you wake up until 1 p.m. every day, and I could just be there smacking you in the head when you're doing something that isn't moving you closer to the goals that you told me you want to achieve, how many times would you get smacked in the head? Like how many times Monday through Friday before 1 p.m. are you doing things that aren't leading you closer to the goals that you want for yourself?
About 12, about the same.
Yeah, right. Me too. So I say that I want to grow the business and I want to grow my EXP organization. I want to have this number. It's easy to say the things and then you bite off more than you can chew. Sometimes you get overwhelmed. You don't really have priorities. But if you're tripping into your day and you're just allowing your day to unfold and there is no order and you don't know the time for you to sit down and do the work of new business development, followed by a short break right into lead follow-up, at least 5 days per week, that's the whole game. And you do that for long enough, you're going to be able to buy back your time and bring a junior agent in under you to hold all those open houses for you, to be your showing agent. And now you shift over to listings. You're going to hire a local licensed admin. That licensed admin is going to hire a virtual assistant. You're going to be doing 50 to 60 deals per year, working 40 to 45 hours per week. So it's not like these overwhelming businesses that we're trying to build, but it does come from that like baseline consistency of just sitting still. In our real estate team, we would call it herding cats. So like, we would have like 5 or 6 agents that if we could just get them to do the thing that we know will lead them to be busy in the afternoons, herding cats in the morning, they'll be successful. And it's 3 hours focused new business development, new conversations, 50 minutes on, 10-minute break, 50 minutes on, 10-minute break, 50 minutes on, 10-minute break. Have an accountability partner that you talked to before, have an accountability partner that you talk to afterwards, then go right into lead follow-up. Lead follow-up are all the nurtures that say, hey, I might consider selling, in September, right? So you're going to call them back in May. And you're going to ask them if they can get a weekly market update from you on the value of their home. And is it okay if I call you back just to follow up? And if you have any questions, right? So you're adding nurtures and your pipeline will fill up. Same thing on open houses. You have, let's say, 3 good contacts, 3 solid leads every week, 1 seller, 2 buyer leads. Over the course of a year, if you did 50 open houses, you'd have listings and buyers coming up like clockwork because they're in your touch system, they're getting value. You're calling them and half the time they said they'd be ready. Like that is the game that we're playing, and it takes months for that to unfold. Just like I would love to, lift weights once and not be sore and gain 10 pounds of muscle. It took me a whole year of working out pretty intensely, and I'm 51, so it's harder for me. I gained 4 pounds of muscle in 12 months. 4 pounds of muscle. Don't you think it would be more than 4 pounds of muscle? Working out like 4 times a week. I worked out 200 times to gain 4 pounds of muscle.
I know.
You know,
I work out 5 days a week just to not turn into a subdivision. I'm really disciplined as far as getting up and having my devotion time and going to the gym. And I even have it on my calendar, follow up with leads. And, for those, I usually only have 1 or 2 hours of time blocked there, but I let things, distract me. Once I do sit down, I'm like, okay, I have this escrow going and I have a great team. I'm on the Riddle Group team with Cody and I have a transaction coordinator. So I just need to be more disciplined and not get into the weeds with even some of the transactions that I have handling everything.
I'm going to cover that. I'll cover that in a second here. All right, Jacoby, what do you got?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, what do you think you call it new business development? What's the most important aspect of that? Is it conversations? Is it the types of conversations? Because I know when you're talking open houses, I'm not a fan of open houses, but the point is to have as many connections as possible, right? Is that what you're...
Yeah, the number of meaningful conversations you can have in a day. Our minimum, if you were an outside salesperson on our team, it was 25 meaningful conversations every day. If you were inside sales, it was 50. So technically you'd have about double the time. If you're Jessica and you're calling your database, she's probably calling 10 people of the 250 to set up a coffee or a lunch. And she may be even texting them, depending on the strength of her relationship with that database.
When you say to set up a coffee or lunch, is that an intentional, like the appointment is about buying or selling, or is this a conversation just to get together and maybe see if you've got a referral or something like that?
For her, it's just to nurture the relationship, so that's probably not a strategy that I would use even, so you have to pick the thing that you could do for the long term so that you'll actually do it. But there's a version of like building a database and like for me, I would definitely do a weekly market update and send it to your database and make it really, really good. Like one slide from Keeping Current Matters, one recent article. Like if you guys haven't, you don't have to go to this level, but does anyone watch Meet Kevin on YouTube? Yeah, I don't know. He's gotten into all the politics of everything. Like he's become a news source, but he has like millions of followers and he used to be a real estate agent. You should be doing some sort of weekly real estate market update. Like pull up an article about the FOMC and how that, there is no rate cut and how there's an article out there from someone that talks about real estate impact with no rate cuts, or it went from like 8 projected rate cuts to 2 projected rate cuts. What does that mean for the real estate market? You have you're doing a loom, your head is in the corner and you're just have an article pulled up or one of the KCM slides or a local market stat, and you're doing that weekly. And you're going to become known as the person that is constantly giving quality information about the local market. And then you could couple that with once a week, you're going to do something in the community where like, hey, this new, I always go to this clean, this juice place or clean juice or whatever, a business thing or a community event or some other video thing that you're doing once a week. And that's 104 things you could put out in a year. And it's not rocket science to do it.
Hey Lars, how's it going? I'm a pretty new agent, so I'm kind of just soaking all of this in. I really appreciate you doing this for us. I guess my question for you is, as a new agent, and I know it could be different for everybody, but what would you really suggest would be the most impactful or like really good solid start for prospecting or getting clients?
What market are you in and how long you've been there?
It's been about 2 weeks.
How long have you lived in the market that you're in?
Oh, about 5 years. I've grown up in the county, been here my whole life, so like over 30, but the city that I'm living in about 5 years, but I know the area pretty well.
Okay. And what'd you do before real estate?
Retail, like sales, management, leadership roles, customer service.
Okay. Have you gone through the exercise of just straight up building a database?
Not yet. I kind of focused a lot, mostly just on the onboarding and getting a lot of like the emails, taking care of like all of those like
steps. I would literally get a Google sheet on if you can post the top 100 people that know, like, and trust you, and then watch the Jessica Wade and then do a weekly market update. There are people that know, like, and trust you and probably know your character enough, even though you're new. Sometimes we hide behind that and we're not going to go out and build a database and let people know that we're in real estate. So I would just follow those strategies and I would just
Okay.
have coffees. Coffees are cheaper than
Yeah.
lunches, so I would keep it to coffees.
Okay. Would
until
you say that I know, and I like something that you said about kind of like taking something and really mastering that, and sometimes that could be enough to, do what you got to do or to be successful. So I'm thinking for me personally, I'd probably benefit most from doing open houses.
I was literally going to say the next thing is
Really?
find an agent
Okay.
or a handful of agents in your market that will let
Yeah.
you hold their listings open. We did a
Yeah.
really good training, the 250K open house system. Anna, if you can just drop that in the chat. Deirdre gave all the scripts, how to set it up, all of that in that training. I would build the
Cool.
database, watch the Jessica Wade, and then the Deirdre. I would have a goal of doing one open house a week.
Thank you so much.
Basically focus
Yeah.
on your database and open houses for a year. You will sell more than 25 homes in the next 12 months. The only way you won't
Morning.
is if you stop doing it. Like you look back in a month and you're like, man, I didn't do any open houses last month. But no matter what, commit to doing one open house per week or two, depending on your financial situation. If you really got to get this thing to work and you find some agents, what brokerage are you in?
I'm in the Oxnard office, so EXP Realty in Oxnard.
Yeah, so you should be able
Yeah.
to find a ton of like top producing EXP agents that will once you build
Yeah.
your open house system, show your system to them, and they'll let you hold their open houses, no problem.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. And that's how I would onboard a new agent if any new agent joined a team too. Build your database, do open houses. We tend to look for paid leads as the answer. That's why I pick a little bit on people when they say it's just for my SOI. It's like, okay, maybe it happened by accident, but what if you were intentional with your SOI? We have people that like, I only sold 5 or 6 homes last year for my SOI. I've tried all these 13 other paid lead sources, but they've never actually focused on their SOI or their digital footprint or a Google profile. Or if you focused on it, you can go from 5 to 25 sales, and it's never going to happen as quick as you want. What do you got, Joe?
What up, man? How are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Good. I'm jealous that you're wearing shorts because you look like you're warm and it is freaking freezing
It's
in
going to be
Chicago.
75 degrees here today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes me mad. So, I just want to make a couple comments and I'll keep it short. So I came across talking about database. I'm going to rewind a little bit, talking about database and doing market updates. As you know, I've got kind of a thick skull. I'm not a big pound the phone dude, but I do have a pretty substantial database of past clients and SOI people. And I stumbled across another EXPer named Russ Lagan. I don't know if you know Russ or not, but Russ takes this approach about database, and it really just, I got to tell you, man, like I can't believe the results that I've gotten just from a couple things and what you said about doing a market update. So he's got this old shtick about doing a market update and how important it is for your database and keeping people inside your world so that they view you as the expert. And everyone gets all puckered up about doing market updates because they think that they have to do it with a fancy PowerPoint or, like you said, a Loom with you're facing the corner and whatever else, right? Like Russ goes back to this old school whiteboard right behind you, right? And he puts down just some basic metrics of the marketplace, and you can cut and dice a market update into so many different segments of your business. You could do luxury, you could do golf course homes, you could do 65 up. I mean, whatever. Just take whatever metric you want and do a market update for that particular person, put it up on YouTube, and then email your database with this market update. And he said, and it just solves all the problems because, like, I'm going into Super Bowl weekend coming up here, right? And we're going to a big Super Bowl party, and everyone's going to ask, "Hey, Joe, how's the market?" And he said, all you have to do is just not get all bound up and say, "Oh, well, this, that, and the other, and depends if you're, all these scripts." He's like, no one cares because they tune you out immediately. Just say something like, "Hey, how about this? Rather than talk today about it, I do this market update. How about I send you the link?" And then that almost everybody just says yeah to that. And I've experienced this already, and that's why I'm saying it. Now you get their contact information if you don't already know them. You get all their contact information, put in your phone, and then the next day send them out your market update. So I sent out a couple market updates so far. I cannot believe the interaction that I'm getting on my follow-up boss of people coming back into my website, clicking the link, And I use a different program called Dubb, for video instead of Loom or others. And it has the ability for me to have these presets of past videos below and action items, right? So email Joe, search for homes, look at your home's value, all these different icons on the bottom, right? And since sending it out, I've gotten personal text messages from people in my SOI. I've gotten way higher engagement, not interaction, but engagement on my website. And I've gotten people texting leads, texting and calling saying, hey, we're thinking about getting going this spring. So that whole market update thing, whatever, I'm just telling guys, if you're not doing a market update to your database, this is like a pile of gold. Second thing I want to comment on, Lars, you said something about developing a team. So I went from having a team of 7 and I cut it all back down to just flying solo. I'm looking to build back up again, but I want to do it the right way. And so I'm a former KWer, right? And so the Red Book, and they talk about building a business. So Lars, what would be your strategy now for a guy who's flying solo to start again, rebuilding the team, when I'm somebody that's been in the business for 20 years?
Yeah, it depends on what the goal is. The model in order, local license admin.
No, I don't have anybody right now.
Okay.
Like I am.
Yeah. So I would just keep doing the things that get you busy to the point where you need to buy back your time. The first hire has to be, in my opinion, I would still hire a local license admin. Super easy to find because agents aren't selling homes and some of them are better administrators. And it doesn't have to be like Reb's model type stuff. You can cut a one-off deal. They could do their SOI deals. You can give them a percentage of closing. You can just someone that can handle, like Tia was mine. And she like ran signs on the weekends and like showed a home for me, measured blinds for me. Like it was a bit of a crap show, but we were going from 27 to 44 to 60 sides in those first few years. Before I even had an agent. The second person would be an agent, a junior agent that could take over an open house system, or they could show homes for you, or you have some system to teach them to plug into. And then the next hire is your admin is hiring either a second junior agent or your admin's hiring a virtual assistant, someone in like a geo arbitrage. And I would do that to get to 60, 75 sides a year, if not more. And then you're slowly stepping out of working with buyers because you've got a couple agents on your team.
So you wouldn't do the whole showing agent model?
I use my buyer agents as showing agents, and they were happy to earn that extra income because they came from jobs where they weren't making $25 an hour. So if you spend 20 hours, if you give them a bonus, a $500 bonus at closing, plus $25 an hour, even if they had 20 hours into showings, even if they have 40, you'd have $1,000 for showings, $500 bonus, $1,500 into a $12,000 commission check, if not a $15,000 commission check. And that person is happy because they're, in essence, for 40 hours of work, they're making $1,500, almost $40 an hour. And they didn't make 80 grand at their last job. So when you just do that math with them, they're happy to take on that steady work for you. And I sold, the year we did 178 sides, I sold 66, 33 of them were buyers, and I don't remember showing a home. Taj, I'm gonna get you in as well. Real quick, let me share my screen. I still think keeping current matters is like the easiest way, if not just searching Charlotte real estate market update. So here's Rocket, is a lending company or whatever. Redfin has a good data source as well, but you could pull this up once a week, and just talk to a different neighborhood, or, they've got some decent data feed and it looks pretty good. You're head in the corner. I like this. Keeping current matters. They added, and I don't know what I pay for this, but they have a KCM local. So this is the Charlotte Metro. I live in Charlotte. And their regular monthly market updates are really good. They've got lots of good shareable content. They do a monthly market update that has good marketing, like just good collateral. These are for, like, it compares the national average to my local market on whatever, I don't even know how to use this. Like so total listing accounts. So you can do active listings. So you can compare, like, you could just do a video on, like, hey, so this is the active listings in our metro. You could see that we went from 4645 January 2024, like big uptick in January 2025. So 6398. And I would pull out my calculator on my phone and I would do, that's a 27% increase in the market. So what we're seeing here is that we're seeing a bit of a shift from a buyers to a seller's market, right? So stay tuned. I'll be doing these every week, but it doesn't have to be overly complicated. One more thing I want to share with you guys and girls, this here. So I do legit want you guys to take a lead conversion challenge. So this is a 13-week tracker. You're tracking meaningful conversations, number of nurtures added to the database, buyers, appointment set, buyer met, buyer signed, listing set, listing met, listing signed. This is a weekly tracker, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're putting your totals on the right. Print this entire document out, staple it, and carry it with you. Your muscle right now for doing this kind of work is probably not real strong. So don't be overly, and I still have to get to Katie. I'm going to get to your thing here too, here in a second. I'm going to let Taj ask his question, then I'm going to address Katie specifically. Taj, what do you got?
Hey, I'll keep it quick. I had an experience last week. I had a settlement on Friday, and I met with the funding manager. He owned the building that the settlement was in. So we exchanged contact information, and I've heard of this guy before, but never did any business with him. So his lead follow-up was amazing. And I mean, he sent me his card. I gave him my card. He sent me his electronic contact card. But then he invited me to a private networking poker game that he holds every month. And just by him doing that, he was top of mind when yesterday somebody called me and they were an investor and they're like, hey, who do you know that can do a DSCR loan? And he was the first person that came to mind. So I was thinking, like, I know we all have things like hobbies or stuff that we do where if we got our database and we held something once a month and it was the same thing every month, so it takes the guesswork out of it. Like for me, I like cigars and I'm part of a cigar lounge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my group of people, like my SOI, and have a small group of maybe 20, 25 people and maybe add people as I go along. But I think that would help keep us top of mind anytime someone's either looking to buy, sell, rent, whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to share that idea. I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, and Jessica Wade, her passion was music, and for 7 months straight, from the spring through the fall, there are these free community music events, like a Live After 5. She's literally for 7 months in a row inviting everyone in her database to meet her at the entrance for a free voucher for ice cream. And she doesn't even sit with them at the event, right? So that's a really good point. Just pick something you're already doing and just invite all your people to it. They're not going to come. But like, who are they going to think of when it comes to real estate, right? All right. So to answer Katie's specific distraction and time blocking. So if your new business development isn't time blocked in your calendar as recurring, write that down as a to-do. Like literally right now, write it down as a to-do. If you can pull off 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., those are the best times. If not, 8:30 to 11:30 is fine too. It can't be after like you're doing a whole bunch of stuff and you hope to like maybe fit it in from 11 to 1. It's like an eat that frog kind of thing where you have to get it done first part of the day. And then when you see that time block, you have to associate something with it. If it was a listing appointment, and I don't know if you do listings, Katie, but Cody would kill you if she was out of town and she set you up in a listing appointment and you blew it off. So why would you blow off your new business development time, but not something for your daughter or your spouse or a listing appointment or a showing of a home, right? So you just have to attach like, this is the future. My future bank account depends on me honoring this commitment I made with myself. And there's the carrot or the stick. The carrot can be some goal you have in the future, right? So getting out of debt or going to Italy, in 2026 or something, right? That you can instantly think of. And then the stick can be, maybe you're not in good position in some way. And it just to remind yourself instantly, this sounds morbid. I've said it before, but for a while, my dad had a stroke, took him 5 years to pass away. I say that's horrible, but I felt that way. Took my kids to visit him every Sunday, and I just had all this baggage associated with it. But when it came to working out, me making the decision on the daily to work out, I literally just had to think about my dad for a second. The 5 years of seeing him basically die slowly every week for 5 years. You think I'm not going to work out, right? And then the maybe the carrot in that instance is like, I don't know, what's a carrot? Like I don't, six-pack abs, I don't know. But for me, the stick in a situation like that was enough for me not to miss that appointment I made with myself. The commitment. Now I review my goals daily, and I'm gonna do weight bearing at least 4 times a week, and I don't miss it. And I just go upstairs, I hit the button on the tonal, the program's already pre-programmed, and I just do the workout. And I'm doing it a lot of times at like 8 p.m. So it's not like a time that I really feel like working out, but I've made that commitment that I'm going to do it. So it's the same thing for that new business development time. All right, I got to go, guys. Diana, is it really burning? Is it a quick question? If it's
Yeah.
quick, I'll.
Quick, very quick, not question. So Think Media interviewed Jeremy Knight, who's in Austin. He has huge following, thousands on YouTube. He said he throws 5 articles of the same topic into ChatGPT, asks to summarize and make a video script, and then he using it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
Thank you.
if you guys aren't using, really good point. If you're not using ChatGPT, it's so easy to use, and you can tell it to search the web too. So some of the models have like they're not looking on the web for information. So you could say, search the web and help me come up with 3 bullet points for a Charlotte, North Carolina market update for February 2025.
But also he can refer to sources, and he doesn't have to read all the articles too.
100%. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, guys, take the challenge, time block, print out that document right now, get the 13 weeks, commit to doing it. You're going to suck at first. You'll build the muscle over time. Don't judge yourself on the daily. Don't miss 2 days. You can miss 1 day, but never 2 days of doing the actual work of a real estate salesperson. Love you guys. I'll pray for your strength and wisdom and consistency and peace through all of this insane real estate that we do on the daily. Love you guys. See ya.